Immigration during the 19th and early 20th century changed America forever. People came to build new lives and live the American dream. Many of them had very little, but they brought their hope, enthusiasm, traditions, and their food. New York City was the epicenter of immigration in America, but it was more than just a melting pot. Thanks to the immigrants, it was also a giant cooking pot which would change American food culture forever.
Usually, mostly Jewish migrants came to this neighborhood. So at that time, there was many delis. This is one of the few left of maybe thousands of delis that were in the early 1900s.
When Katz's Deli opened, they opened in this huge immigrant ghetto. Needless to say, the people were extremely poor. All the restaurants down here on the Lower East Side were cafeteria style.
The immigrants flooded in, creating new culinary neighborhoods. One can only imagine the interest and surprise New Yorkers felt when they first tried these foods that were as foreign to them as the people who brought them.
Traditionally, these foods were kosher foods, so they were never served with cheese. After the years, you've seen like the Reuben sandwich pretty much invented. That's pretty American because it's corned beef with Swiss cheese, sauerkraut, Russian dressing, something that you would never see cheese and a meat product mixed in. So you definitely saw the culture change, and they adapted vice versa to one another in the businesses. Some stood strictly kosher, some adapted to like we are today.
The Eastern Europeans brought so many foods Americans eat today. It's easy to forget how far they came from and how long ago they were introduced.
The store opened at 1914 and it became Ross and Daughters. But before, the owners, the founder, Ross and his wife, they came from Eastern Europe, a place called Galicia, that at a certain point it was either Romania or Russia or Poland. And they came here in 1907. And he had a pushcart around the corner on Orchard Street selling mushrooms, Polish mushrooms, pickles, and herring. And back then there was a big immigration from Eastern Europe, so that was part of the, like people like that food. And we have people that come from everywhere, that they're not Jewish, that they are African Americans. They grew up in Brooklyn, their neighbors were Jewish, and they learned from them that every Sunday morning, that's what you eat. They continue the same tradition.
Meanwhile, a few blocks away, the Chinese arrived in great numbers and created a mini world of their own, reflecting their own tastes and their taste buds. In what is now known as Chinatown, they recreated native dishes that attracted and appealed to people from all over. The Chinese, like all other groups of immigrants, have made other parts of America their home and have taken their cuisine with them for other Americans to enjoy as well. Between 1880 and 1924, millions of Italians settled in America. But when it came to food, the Italians didn't settle at all.
I'm Lou DiPaolo from fourth generation at DiPaolo's here in New York City's Little Italy. One of the greatest contributions that Italians have made to New York City and the United States is food. Prior to the arrival of the Mediterranean group, Italians which are included in that, the American people used to think of food as something eat to live. The Italians, on the other hand, live to eat. And I'd like to look at it not only as Italian food, but as American food today. I mean, it's very rare that you'll find a family that doesn't have some type of Italian food during the course of the week. Pizza, pasta, these are now American words, English words in our language. Vino, wine as art, food as art. The Italians worship not only the type of food, but the ground where the food grows, or the animals that supply the wonderful products, such as milk for cheese, meat for prosciutto. The Italians, when they first came here and settled in New York City's Little Italy, I call this area the the footprint of the Italian immigrant, where they first came here and eventually melted into mainstream America. They took some of their heritage and traditional foods and changed it. Spaghetti and meatballs. That's not an Italian dish. It's an Italian-American immigrant dish. The love affair of Italian food has grown to the American population.
Each dot on this map represents 10,000 immigrants, 40 million in total between 1840 and 1920, all of them arriving with delicious ideas. Their foods were all mixed into the melting pot of America. Hot dogs and hamburgers from Germany, spaghetti and pizza from Italy, smoked salmon from Eastern Europe, and General Tso's chicken from China. We have the modern era and the immigrants who came to America to thank for making America's food culture what it is today.